Did you know if you drop a like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, nothing will happen but it will put a giant smile on my face? Fortnite Chapter 3's flip side is yet to see the first live event of this brand new chapter, with the last one occurring in cinematic form conjoined with gameplay on December 4th, 2021. This of course being the end event itself, which, well, flipped the island over to Chapter 3. And since this happened with Season 1 not presenting too much in terms of the storyline, with us knowing there's a feud between the Imagined Order and the Seven, clearly even more so developed off or established in the Chapter 3 Season 2 trailer, that then begs the question, based off the developments we're going to be showing in today's video, is there going to be a live event, and if so, what is it going to be? I can confidently say we are going to be seeing our first live event of Chapter 3 this season, and it's going to be completely huge, which we're also going to be proving and giving all the details for. So with that said today, trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Sit back, relax, grab your favourite snacks, stick around, watch the full video. It's only going to be around 600 seconds long, which is actually 10 minutes in seconds, but maybe just a little bit longer. And speaking of seconds, whilst you're watching this video now or straight after, please take 2 seconds, as it's 100% free, to enter code FM1 inside the Fortnite item shop. Entering this code not only puts a giant smile on my face, but also cheers up my pug Gus, as he's been kinda sad about the fact he knows 70% of you watching right now are not subscribed. So if you hit the big red button right now, you will help us on our final push to 2.5 million subs, as we've just reached 2.4 million right now, so get clicking. After all, this only benefits you too, considering I give different subscribers every single day who are simply, yes, subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on, and then comment their Epic Games ID down below and potentially what they'd like to receive. So yeah, that could be you gifted in front of hundreds of thousands of eyes to see in the very next video on the channel. But with that said, now enough messing around, we need to go over everything Fortnite Live Event related and how Klombos are even going to be involved, so make sure of course you don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
I'm not, I'm sitting on my
Don't
back.
go anywhere.
Okay, so the very first thing to understand before we go into the live event details is what is going to be the cause of it, and if that wasn't already obvious enough from looking at the Season 2 trailer itself, if not the map when playing. Yes, of course, as mentioned at the start of the video, there is a war that's being waged between the Imagined Order and the Seven in hopes of controlling the entire island, which of course we have the outcome for, or should I say the build-up to said outcome, meaning, well, a live event determining everything, as everything was leaked in the 20.10 update to do with the stages of, well, the Seven's boundaries being blue and the Imagined Order's controller boundaries being red. Of course, you can see all 6 stages on screen right now, and despite it kind of being hard to see the lines of the red and blue in the small form, feel free to pause the video to get a good look. Of course, it ends by the Imagined Order being pushed back all the way to their base of operations set up on the map, or should I say in the map itself, the indentation they've made into the mountain, which is now Command Cavern. And despite it being more developed than the last season, as you can see a comparison right now from what once was Covert Cavern to, well, Command Cavern itself, with the structures on the outside and of course the blimps not only here but scattered around the map itself. Speaking of blimps, and also bringing up the question that you're perhaps wondering, how is the map going to look with the blimps on the island if the Seven, well, are meant to be taking over most of it, pushing back the Imagined Order to Command Cavern itself? Well, in case it wasn't already obvious from the fact we have mini live events even in-game right now at the Daily Bugle starting to push back the Imagined Order from this location and make the Resistance take it over, or the Seven, alongside the fact that this artwork, which is actually a loading screen which we're going to be getting eventually, I'm guessing for free off Epic Games, is teasing the fact that the blimps are going to be crashing into several named locations or just on the map in general, specifically right here at the Daily Bugle. From taking a look or reflection back on previous tweets that data miners have been able to determine about what blimps are going to be crashing where once the Imagined Order are actually pushed back by the Seven itself, as you can see, Hypex on the 23rd of March came out with the following information. Upcoming map change: when the Seven, blue, take back some parts of the map, red, they will take the IO tanks, turrets, outposts, etc. and turn them into theirs, and they will also crash 3 blimps into those 3 red X's. Now, the reason I've read that tweet out fully anyways and referred to it in so many videos talking about the progression of this season is because, of course, right now the 7 tanks are a thing. If they're not in game, they're going to soon be in one of the 4 updates that's scheduled this season according to Sheena, which will lead up all the way to 20.40 before Chapter 3 Season 3 being 21.0. And from enlarging the image on the tweet itself, as you can see, the red X's reside over the areas of just the backward outskirts area of the Daily Bugle, tilted towers on the outskirts of that, and then also rocky reels, of which, yes, we definitely have blimps over, which gives this tweet even more validity considering he was right about the 7 tanks, and the fact that, yes, as you can see from the early gameplay, are either going to be on the island very soon or perhaps are when you're watching this video, future, depending on when you are. And of course, this tweet makes sense in itself, reflecting back to, well, the stages of the map that have obviously been leaked progressively to happen, pushing back the Imagined Order's zone of control. And I know many of you so far may be thinking, well, how are the Klombos involved, considering they were literally vaulted at the start of this season, or we thought so until now anyways. And speaking of them literally being vaulted, perhaps as this rumour actually stands, inside Command Cavern, obviously, with people coming to this conclusion from hearing cries behind these giant vault doors adjacent to each other within the name location itself. Even though we currently can't see anything updated behind here in version 20.10 from glitching out in replay mode and going to view this doesn't necessarily mean, considering there's a secret Klombo challenge currently from visiting these 3 locations, obviously showing Klombos underneath the snow breathing out from their air tube, that we could actually use as a permanent kind of mobile launch pad in Chapter 3 Season 1. Of course, with us knowing they're going to return after the war, or perhaps even during it, maybe even the live event itself. Again, with this war happening and Klombos hibernating to protect their species, perhaps some of them were captured by the Imagined Order and are going to be used in this giant battle, which I suspect to be the Season 2 live event alongside, well, everybody else in the community, as this ultimately makes sense. The conflict between the Imagined Order and the Seven has been going on for as long as I can remember in the Fortnite storyline, and of course, despite it building tension to end off this season with a live event or battle itself, you may be wondering, why are they actually fighting and why can't they just come together? The answer to that question is kind of simple. They literally both want different things for the Fortnite Island or how it's run, or to harness the very heart of it, the 0 point itself, between the flip side and, well, the Chapter 2 island that's currently underwater. And the reason we know this was actually revealed before the start of Chapter 3 Season 2 in the Fortnite x Marvel Zero War comics. Despite these clearly showing members of the Seven that now are contained throughout the Battle Pass early, such as the Imagined and even the Origin, and as more pages got leaked, despite that even teasing perhaps the return of Galactus and other prior event big monsters or creatures such as the Mecha Team Leader robot and the Polar Peak monster itself, even though we literally have props from the original final showdown around the map and cries of another Devourer monster in the files in the distance. The actual plotline for these comic books themselves was revealed by Firemonkey right here in this tweet that I'm going to be reading out. As you can see from the tweet on screen, with a literal screenshot attached of what Fortnite have described this war as itself, the Zero War, it follows the inhabitants on the Fortnite Island who are locked in what seems to be a never-ending war, and only one thing has the potential to turn the tide: a crystallized fragment of the 0 point that was cast into the Marvel Universe. Spider-Man and Wolverine team up with Shuri and several fan favourites from Fortnite to hunt down the elusive Zero Shard. Will these allies be able to find it in time and avert catastrophe? And can the heroes of Marvel and Fortnite's realities hold off the Imagined Order long enough to give them a fighting chance? To answer the question that ended off, of course, we know the Seven are turning the tide slowly over the progression of these updates now until, well, the end of the season or a live event does occur. And considering we now know what they're fighting over, looking for the elusive Zero Shard, being, well, a shard of the 0 point itself, perhaps we know why now the Imagined Order have been digging all around the island, even toward the end of Chapter 3 Season 1 after setting up base at Covert Cavern. And not only that, but even setting up this giant drill in Command Cavern or Covert Cavern itself to actually go further into the Earth's crust or the in-between. Perhaps Dr. Sloan is trying to reach the 0 point if she cannot find the Zero Shard itself, to perhaps tear another fragment or shard off the 0 point itself, which could very well then combat the Seven as they've pushed them all the way back to their base, hence why, yes, they only have the facilities to use there at the end of the season, being this giant drill in Command Cavern itself as previously mentioned. It's safe to say what happens either way, the end of this season is going to be very interesting, as it seems obvious that the Seven look like they're winning from the map changes. Epic Games never make anything as straightforward as we like. Because of this, and with the Imagined Order pulling things out of their sleeve that we never expected to see in Fortnite, such as, well, removing building literally for 2 weeks or the first fortnight, no pun intended, of Chapter 3 Season 2. Because of this, perhaps they have even more tricks up their sleeve, and with us knowing they're tampering with the remains of the Devourer, and again with the files showing that there's another alive Devourer creature perhaps under these remains in the Catus Cave according to the coding, with the Seven perhaps also knowing this, hence why the scientist has reached out to Paradigm, actually trying to get her back to come to the island, as she, in another snapshot form being the Singularity, actually manufactured the first robot that was able to slay the only way we knew of anyways, the Devourer monster in Chapter 1 Season 9. And with these giant things involved, who's to say that Klombos won't be performing or trying to fight for either side once captured or controlled by them? And who knows, perhaps Epic Games has heard our cries for not only the return of Klombos, but when this inevitably happens, even baby Klombos, as there was so much hype surrounding these, it goes without saying that Epic Games will have definitely taken note. For more information on this, as soon as it gets leaked, make sure you're subscribing to the channel with all notifications turned on, and drop a like in today's video if you want to keep referring back to anything mentioned in this video, literally any of it. In terms of your next destination now, however, for videos or anything, make sure to interact with anything on screen, but most importantly, hopefully I can catch you, yes, you the individual still watching, I can see you, but hopefully in that very next video I do post on the channel.